Hello and welcome to another update video about Solana. Solana continues to be hovering around the key resistance here that we talked about yesterday in the video. So I made a few changes to the account yesterday to account here for the latest price action and to still give Solana a possibility to move higher. However, it should really turn around now. I mean, it's in this descending broadening wedge. This is quite a rare pattern. But it still gives Solana the possibility to rally higher in something like an ending diagonal. For example, this wave 5 could put in an ending diagonal, and I'm observing that. But please note that this is not a highly reliable pattern anymore. And I took that support box out as well, which was obviously here, but it's sort of taking away the sight of the actual price action. But again, as mentioned before, we had 3 entry areas here. If you entered any of these, just move up your stop loss, take the risk out, and you can hope for another move up. I don't particularly see an interesting trade setup at the moment. Yes, we had a support area here and possible entry area, but now with the drop out of this, zooming out, ascending, broadening wedge, this has become a little bit challenging because the move up is now getting very choppy. It's fighting to get back into this wedge. It's broken out of the other wedge. That's something to note. And I think if it breaks back into this larger wedge and above that trend line, then we have a good chance to put that 5th wave into the target area between 28.34 and 32.19, plus minus a few cents, right? Also depending on the exchange. If, however, we lose that previous support low, which is at 22.30, then we have a really good chance that, or confirmation basically, that this wave 2 is finally in. Always bear in mind that the wave 2 is ongoing. Always bear in mind that confirmation doesn't mean certainty. There are no certainties in these markets. It's all only probability. Really, all this wave 5 needs to do is to break above the previous wave 3 high, which basically it did already here at $25, but not really clearly. And ideally we are seeing a clearer wave 5, which gives us more confidence in the count, which will get into this region. From there, we could then see some downside here in this wave 2 correction, which will most likely be an ABC correction. It could take out quite a while to play out. Because if this is the first impulse, normally a wave 2 would, take longer because, well, it depends. If this, because you can count this now as, if we get another high, we can start to count this as a diagonal as well, this wave 1, which isn't great, but still the wave 2 should take around about the same time as the wave 1 then. So it can take a few weeks to play out, right? Because this started already end of December. So it will be interesting. February, March though are normally really good months for crypto. So we'll see, it will be interesting. So yeah, looking still at the possibility of putting in this 5th wave. And you should now know the key support and resistance areas. Here, of course, if we take a look now at the indicators, let's take a look where the momentum is sitting at the moment. Probably a more reliable one would be the 4-hour one. So on the 4-hour chart, we are seeing here, it prevented a cross below the 0 line basically, or we're just moving up again. We had a bullish cross here on the MACD on the 4-hour, indicating that we at least have here some short-term upside. We're also back in the bullish range of the RSI, which also indicates uptrend, basically like what we had here. So we have prevented a drop below this 50 line really on a sustainable basis. So we're back above it. On the daily, it's the same situation here, however, and that's interesting. We have to prepare for a possible bearish crossover on the daily MACD. Now, if that comes down, I mean, we crossed bullish really on the daily before we moved up. So a bearish cross now, which happened the last time before, well, yeah, before we dropped here. And then the last time before we had this, or when we actually had this strong sell-off around early November. So that might be a precursor that this wave 2 is coming. So look at these indicators, how high the MACD line is. We might be able to prevent it for now with this, because on the 4-hour it's moving up. So we need to see if the daily bearish crossover can be prevented. But if we get it, watch it, and I will get back to it in the next few Solana videos as well to observe it. And if we can observe it and if we can see that bearish crossover, then it can take us down obviously from here, which might be a catalyst for that further sell-off. But in the short term here, we had yesterday a bullish engulfing candle again. on the daily, yeah. So mixed signals here, really. It all depends, I think, now really on the on that trend line. Can we break above the trend line? And important to note is that, in my opinion, there is currently no real trade setup. The trade setup was here, here, here. Yes, we've got a support area here defined, which I took out now, which means technically you can enter here, of course, you know, but be aware that because we dropped out of this trend line or out of this wedge to the downside, this scenario is certainly being challenged. Absolutely, it's currently being challenged. And I think we're getting sort of towards the end of this uptrend. Especially also if you look at that MACD, which is losing momentum. So the wave 2 support area will become an interesting point to scale in for a possible long trade. Now, if we push higher, I may have to move that up, yes. And also a word of caution, we don't know yet if this will be a 5-wave move, which is going to happen here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or if it will just be an ABC. But then again, at least the C wave could be traded long. Good, that's my update about Solana. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.